Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks for joining me today. As always, it's lovely to have your company and spend some time together with you. Now today, I said we'd look for our Technique Tuesday at a different way of using our new sticker stencils. And we're going to be looking at Sticker Stencil Set 3. So I'll move the finished design out and we'll come to that in a moment. And I'll just show you on the back of each packet, it shows you the 4. So we'll run through them. And in this set, we've got, and I probably should have had a dark piece of card. That would have been sensible, wouldn't it? Is that better? Does that show up? We've got the fish here. Look, some of mine I haven't put quite back. So we've got the fish set. And then we've got this gorgeous large leaf, and that's the one I'm going to be using. Look at this. You are supposed to put them back on the sticker sheet square, but obviously I haven't. And then we've got this lovely leaf. Now again, so many possibilities with this. You can add texture paste through them. Oh, honestly, gilding flakes. There are just so many ways you can use these. And then the 4th one in this set is this, which when I was demonstrating it, I thought it was a mushroom, like a toadstool, but other ladies saw it as a tree. So, I mean, it also is, I just think, a gorgeous place to sit a fairy on. So, again, so many possibilities. So, as always with our sticker stencils, you get the inner and the outer. So, I thought we'd have some fun with one of these, and we're going to be using this one. So, this is Sticker Stencils Set 3. And this one particularly, I've come up with this design because I had a lovely message from Pauline Bunting. So Pauline, this video was especially for you. And she was asking me if I could show her how to create a scene inside a sticker stencil and just explain the way my head works around it. And as we know, my head, not a good place. But you know what? I'll explain to you what to do and why. Now, I've backed my design on these lovely craft card blanks, and these are from Lavinia. Lovely, you get the cards and the envelopes, and I just think they're great. They give a lovely organic, earthy feel, and I've chosen my colour scheme to go around it. So I'm just using greens for this. But again, so many possibilities. You could change this up by changing the colour, changing the stamps. I'm going to do a Christmassy version of it, but I think this would lend itself to an anniversary card. I'm thinking Valentine's Day, weddings. Again, so many possibilities. So we're going to start with a piece of Multifarious card, and this is 5x5, and I've put my black Sharpie line round. I must admit, I now sit at the end of the day and add my black Sharpie to quite a few card blanks, and then they're ready for me to use. And we're going to be using the outer part of this sticker stencil so that we can then put the design in the middle. It's a bit chilly here today. I've got my big cardigan on, I'm afraid, so roll my sleeves up a little. Now, the beauty of this, before we start, you can put it any orientation you like. I think it looks nice. Don't think because it's square and your card's square. I mean, as it happens, we're going to do the design this way, but I think it would look lovely this way. But also I'm thinking a water scene with a reflection this way. I might have to work on that. So many ideas, and we're just going to pop sticker stencil down here. Now, for belt and braces, I've got some Lavinia low tack tape, and I'm just going to pop it here because that's quite near the edge, and I'm liable with my stencil brush to go over, and we'll do the same at the top. But that also means it's stuck down to my mat, so I hope it's in a good position for you to watch. And we'll start by adding some colour. And I'm going to use my elements, and I'm going to come in with green sleeves. This is just becoming my new favourite colour. And then for a bit of shade, we're going to add a little bit of Bermuda. So we'll start with the green sleeves, and I'm coming in with number 7 of my stencil brush. As always, into the lid, dab some off, and we're just going to gently flick. And I take a little bit off, and I just want to flick a little bit of colour all the way around to start off with. And what I found is once I've gone all the way around, then I can work at building the colour up. I find if I work in just one area first and have too much ink on my brush, that area is too dark. And now I'm just sort of using circular motions and going all the way around and coming in a little bit further around the design. But what I'm doing is almost blending that ink that's on the stencil, and that will give me a nice even blend. So if you struggle, if it's too dark when you start off, that's a lovely little tip for you. And we'll just go all the way around and blend that. So we've got that lovely, lovely colour. Then we'll pop the lid on the green sleeves and we're going to come in with the Bermuda. Now this is a darker colour and it's quite a different sort of green. And we'll come in with our Lavinia brush number 3. This is the smaller one. And this is where we're going to add extra shade. So I'm just going to flick from the edge. And I'm just going to catch and keep going in and just getting a little. And this is all about building up this lovely colour just round the edge. And do take your time. Now you may look at this and think, do you know what? You've got no colour building up there, Jo, at all. But you would be surprised. This is one of those things that you really need to have a go at and just see how the colour does build up. And coming down this side. And don't be, mindful of rushing this. Do make time to just build it up. And I find, because I use my brush almost like as a flick going up, that helps build up. If I bring the original one in, we're just adding this colour. Like, just those tones are so lovely, and it helps to give shade on the leaf. And you get to know your ink pads. As the colour builds up, I find I can go into the ink pad and come straight in and add that flick, because I know exactly how much colour I'm getting where. And then we want it a little bit deeper at the base here, and just catch the odd. And you see now it's really building up that colour. If I just zoom in a bit, can you see here where we're really, really building up that colour? So I'm going to stop there and we'll add some stamping. So I'll just get my copy of paper. And I'm going to use a couple of hairs from the Wild Hair, the small set. And again, you can use your acetate to decide what you're going to use and where. Just let me get a little bit more copy of paper. That's better. I feel happy with a bit more. And I'm going to use black for this. So I'm using the Versafine Clair, so it's a permanent ink and it's the Nocturne. And I'm thinking we're going to have our two little bunnies facing each other. Like I say, this will be lovely for, a spouse's birthday card or a lovely engagement card. Well, anything romantic, really. And we'll pop the other one so they're facing each other. We'll put you there. And again, this is going straight on the card through the middle. So we're stamping in the gap that we've got, which again is lovely. Yep, that's fine. And now I want to bring in the mistletoe at the top. So again, I can use my acetate to see how much mistletoe I want. And I've got my lovely masking tape here, so I know I'm not going to go over. And I think I use black for this as well. I'm actually going to ink up the whole stamp because I'm not sure how high. So like I say, for me, I'm thinking we'll add that. Now, because this is going over the tiny little edge, there's a little rim where your sticker stencil stops. So do be mindful to give it a good stamping. And I'll just move that there. So again, we've got this whole design, which is lovely. And we want to add a little bit down here. So I've come in with the little mini holly. But I don't want to put it all black, but I don't want to stamp all green either. I want to keep the continuity. I always say to you about you want the whole design to look like it's a cohesive design, so it all goes together. So what I'm going to do is I've got the Versafine Clair Shady Lane. And yes, I am being good and calling it Shady Lane, even though in my head it's Shady Lady. And we'll just add a couple of stamps of the holly in the green at the base. Little bit of first and second generation, I think. But what I'm going to do is leave a little bit of a gap, and I'm just going to give that a wipe with Mr. Inky Binky. I know black's the darker colour, but I really don't like to contaminate my ink pads. And what I'm thinking is if I just add one of the holly in the black, then that for me will keep the continuity and bring some of the black stamping. That's the way, sorry, excuse me, my head works anyway. While that ink is drying, she says, but you know I've got to give it a blot. And again, the reason I blot it is Versafine Clair is a slower drying ink. I want to add a black outline, and I love the fact with these stencils. So while I'm talking, I'm just going to go round. You could take the stencil off if you wanted and draw it freehand. I personally find it easier while the stencil is in place. But what you need to be mindful of is that the ink is, as I say, is slow drying, but also it will dry slowly on the masking tape as well. So you have to be mindful that you don't want to pop your hand. Till I was concentrating, then I stopped talking. That you don't pop your hand on the tape, and then transfer it onto your design. So I'm just going to take my time and this is the black fine liner, and it's trying to get the light right so I can see where the edge of the stencil is. As I say, you may find it easier to take the stencil off and draw it freehand. And to be honest, it helps if nobody's watching you. There we go. I think we've gone all the way around. Do you know what? If not, we'll add some freehand at the end. What we do want to do is add a little bit of our landscape. Now again, for me, I like to add my landscape and everything while my mask is still on place. But I'm mindful that, as I say, this is a slower drying ink. So give it another blot. And then we're going to come in with our acetate hill masks. So we'll use the flatter one first. And you've got choices of colour. We're going to go for the Bermuda because I just think it will show up better. And again, you know me, I work on the side. So I'll just pop, let's have a look, get a good shape under their little derrieres. There we go. And we'll get some of the ink and just flick a little bit of landscape. And again, with your ink, be mindful to take it on the mask first. And then I can come in with a bit more shade because there'll be more shade under where my little bunnies are sat. If you want to have a look, lift it up. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And I'll turn it around so you can see. And let's add some hills. Should we go for this one? Let's have a look. And again, remember, you can move your masks around. There's no rush. Don't pop it on till you're happy with it. Let's have a... Right, I'm happy with that. So again, we'll just add a little bit of the darker green right across here. And again, let's lift it up and have a look. Yep, happy with that. So we can move that away. Lovely. And what we'll bring in now is our circle mask. Now again, you can use this as a moon or a spotlight. And again, we've used it as both. So I'm just going to turn mine round because you know me, it's easier for me to work this way. And with having the mistletoe here, I'm thinking let's go spotlight. And I'm using the same. I know you're going to tell me you don't get green sky. So again, if you wanted to bring blue in at this point, you could use your blue ink. I just want to keep the design because to my head it's inside the leaf. It's all tone on tone. So I'm just keeping with my green tones. But again, if you wanted to use green for your landscape and bring in your blue now, by all means, you know, you tailor it to suit you. And again, if I didn't want to spotlight the mistletoe, I could have just popped the moon there, just poking in at the side. And it would look lovely, just poking its little head in. So we'll give the masks a wipe. Always important to give them a wipe before you put them away. And again, I've got a little bit of gold Posca on my circle mask so I don't lose it. Because these things do have a habit, they see through. And they have a habit, don't they, of disappearing. You put them on your desk and before you know it, they've gone. So if we move our copy paper out and we're going to take our mask off. Now again, your low tack tape, this is lovely, it's Lavinia low tack. Look how low tack it is. If you were worried it wasn't low tack enough, just pop your heat tool on it. But Lavinia comes off like a dream. Now I'm going to take my mask off. And again, to clean it, all I do is little spritz, look, pop it on my mat. Spritz with water. And then bring Mr. Inky Binky in and a nice wipe again. Being mindful, don't go against the shape of the mask. You don't want to damage the mask. And then I'll pop that back on the carrier sheet and give this a wipe. Make sure that's dry. So there we've got our lovely design, and we'll just a couple of finishing touches. So I've got a red gel pen here. So I'll add, again, I just want to lean on my kitchen towel because I don't want to put, we've got this lovely design, clean and simple. I don't want to get any marks on it. And let's get our pastel pencils out and our white, and we'll just add some little tails and some little highlights. Again, me being me, I don't want to overcook it with this, but you do as much as you're happy with. A bit on the nose there. There we go. And then for the mistletoe, what I'm going to do is, I've got my acrylic spray here, and this is the bright white. So I'm just going to add a little bit to my mat, to one of my acrylic blocks. And then I'm just going to, now again, you could paint using your Posca, and I just want to dab a little bit of colour. I could use my liquid pearls, I could use gems. There are so many different ways of adding the white here, but for me, I found I like the effect of the acrylic paint. But what I will do with my Posca pen is just add, she says, I have a couple of Posca pens on the go, and one always works better than the other, and you can guarantee it's not the one I pick up. I don't know if that happens to you. Let's just add a little bit of Posca too for more definition here. A couple of the leaves. Now, I want to add some snow to this. Now, you don't have to, but it's up to you. I'm thinking if I take this with my Christmassy design, now I could have left, if I wanted the snow just inside, so if you want any splats just inside your design, again, you would do that before you took your sticker stencil off. But for me, if I show you the finished design, I like to bring my snow across the edges of everything, But again, that's just personal to me, and that's just the way my head works. So I would add my snow now. And again, I'll just add some onto the white. So start off on the design and then just add right across. Now, if you want to flick some of your acrylic paint that you've got on your mat, again, you can bring your fan brush and add some of the acrylic paint. The fact that you've got it out, you can add that as well. What I will do is, let's just wipe the lovely craft space here. I want to add a sentiment. Now, you know me, this may take a while. I was looking at my Christmas sentiments, but I quite like on my original, I quite like Love Story. And I think I'm actually going to go with that. So I was going to put, with it being the mistletoe, one of my Christmas, but I'm going for Love Story. But again, I just changed my mind. So I'm going to pop that there. And again, just using my scissors, make sure where I want it. And then going to edge it just so it goes with the continuity of the fact that I've edged around the sticker stencil. I think it adds. And then last thing for me, I'm going to add a bow. And again, I've gone for my lovely craft yarns. Now, if you struggle looking these up, I've had quite a few ladies message me, and they're actually called craft yarns. So you have to remember to look for the word yarn. If you put thread, it comes up with almost sort of like sewing thread. So I'm just going to choose again. You get so many lovely ones. I'm thinking this one. And just make yourself 2 bunny ears. That's good when we're doing a bunny card, isn't it? And we'll make a little bow. And then let's have a look. Oh yeah, I think the colour goes really well with that. And I'm just going to use my Bippity Boppity glue. And again, this dries clear. It's not instant. It will take a few minutes, but it will dry that beautifully. And basically, that's the way my head works with creating the design inside. Now, as I say, we've got so many different stamps that would work well. And this stencil, it's quite a large area. So if I was to just measure this for you. So if we go across, it's 3 inches in some places. And we're talking 4.5 inches that way. So you've got a lot of space to create a design. Almost looks like a Christmas tree that way, doesn't it? But like I say, there are so many things you can do with this. And for me, my job is just the starting point. So if I bring in my original, and I'm just going to open it up. So I'm hoping, Pauline, that answers your question. And for me, what I would do is get your stencil out to start off with, your sticker stencil, and then look what stamps you've got that are the right size. Well, I say right size, but you don't have to stamp a full design. I mean, I was going to do some florals, but I thought, oh, I always do florals. But you'll be surprised how many stamps will actually fit in that space. So I'm hoping that helps you. I'm hoping that gives you an idea. And I must admit, I'm looking forward. I'm going to pop this one to one side, and that's going to go in my journal next Monday. So I hope you have a lovely weekend when it arrives. Thanks for joining me as always. You take care, everybody. Much love and hugs from me. Bye for now.